Hello and welcome to week 5. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our short story this week and the assignment. Now I Lay Me can be a very difficult story to understand. Hemingway was famous for writing with what he called the iceberg theory. Just as only a small portion of an iceberg is viewable on the surface, so just a small portion of his story is viewable on the surface. The depth of story is buried underneath in hidden meanings and context. Context is very important for this short story, which is why I have posted several links to historical settings. The men in Hemingway's generation were encouraged to believe that dying for one's country was a glorious thing. When Hemingway was himself blown up by a mortar, his mother wrote cheerfully that her son was a man, as if being blown up for one's country makes one a man. Think of Teddy Roosevelt charging in on a horse, as is seen in Night at the Museum. These young men grew up encouraged to follow Teddy into battle. They were children when he was influencing society. They got to war and discovered that it was not glorious. They watched tens of thousands of their comrades die by their sides, and they often had to climb over the bodies of their friends. While visiting to the Italian front lines in World War I learned that the abundance of bodies brought about an abundance of rats. There were so many rats on the front lines that they could clean the meat off of a body in 24 hours. That is what men like Signor Tenente went through. That is why he could not sleep at night. Signor Tenente, or Mr. Lieutenant in English, is also known as Nick Adams, although that name is not given in this short story. It is in several other stories. Nick has been blown up at night, just as Hemingway himself was. He cannot sleep at night, and that is key to the story. Remember that he is trying to keep himself awake. He's not actually fishing. He's thinking about fishing to keep himself awake. Notice all of the detail given to fishing and how little detail is given for the war, which is only a few miles away. He barely mentions the noises of the war, but focuses more on the noises of the silkworms. He does not want to think about the war, his injury, or why he cannot sleep. Instead, he focuses on remembering every woman he's ever known, praying, and thinking about things that made him mad in the past, such as his mother burning his father's specimens and arrowheads. He remembers that the things burned in the fire were only things because he has seen men dying and burning. And that is so much worse than burning a collection. All of this is just to keep him awake and not thinking about his own reality. Moving forward this week, you will need to turn in an outline with a basic thesis. Remember that this is a working thesis. It may narrow as you continue to research and write. You will need at least one other source for this essay. The story itself is a source, and you will draw from it, but you will need at least one other source from the library. Think about what angle you want to take with this essay. Do you want to analyze it from a historical angle? Maybe you want to focus on PTSD as it is seen in this story. Maybe you want to compare and contrast Nick and Hemingway as they are seen in this story. Choose your angle and research in that direction. If you do not know how to access the library online, Google Santa Fe College Library and a link will come up. Once there, you can click on Research Help, and towards the bottom, an option will appear to chat with the librarian. Don't be afraid to chat and tell the librarian you need help finding a source in this specific topic. They can interlibrary loan digital materials for you, or if you are on campus you can drop by and pick something up. If you have any questions on finding sources, outlines, or the story itself, you can email me or you can sign up for an optional conference with me. Happy researching and writing.